how did you get into it? Like, were you always interested in music, and how did it all start?
I've always been into music. Always been singing and playing guitar from my high school days. Had a band in high school, then had a band in college as well, and that's when we started playing in bars and clubs around the country. Initially, this is way before Best Kept Secret happened.
Do you change your music or the way your songs will be curated for each wedding? After talking to the bride and groom, how do you do that? What's your process like?
Yeah, so I think essentially when people are booking Best Kept Secret, they already know or they have a rough idea of what we're going to be playing already, because they're like, okay, they've seen our Instagram or they've seen our YouTube, they've heard our music online, so they know, okay, fine, you know what, this is going to be a party, this is what the band brings, this is the energy of the band, and it's like 2 hours of non-stop parts. So I think what happens is we have a huge repertoire now of about 200-300 songs, and in a show we end up playing about 30 to 40 songs. So in that 30 to 40 songs window, we can keep changing based on the mood of the crowd.
You also did a show recently in Calcutta, I remember. So you do shows very often?
We do 100 shows a year. So
apart from the wedding?
Apart from weddings, yeah. I mean, including everything. So we do everything from, say car launches, fashion shows, hotel launches, brand launches, like fashion show, fashion launches basically, college festivals, music festivals, nightclubs. We do everything. So the best part about being a pop rock band is that we kind of fit into every space,
right?
So and every celebration. So basically, if there's any kind of celebration, we kind of fit the vibe.
Hi, Bheram.
Hi,
I'm
Urvashi.
so happy that you've joined us for the wedding show by Rads in Bombay, all the way from Bangalore.
Yeah.
But you're used to traveling. I'm so glad that you did travel for us. Let's talk about Best Kept Secret, and let's talk about Bheram too.
Sure. First of all, thank you for inviting me to your show. Always a pleasure. Well, Best Kept Secret basically is my band. We're a band that's been performing for the last several years, I would say. It's a bunch of very, very talented musicians, and I have the honor and pleasure to have such amazing musicians playing with me. We're a pop band, essentially a pop band that plays around the world. We've played, I think, 100 cities, more than 100 cities around the world now. We just recently played in a 100th city, which was Lisbon in Portugal. We're a very busy touring band constantly. And I'm fortunate that I get to be the lead singer of the band.
I'm so glad that you talked about you last, and let's talk more about it. I heard you're a pilot.
Yes.
You're a trained commercial pilot.
Yes, that's right. I'm a trained commercial pilot. In fact, I trained in America. I got my licenses in America.
Okay.
Came back to India, got it converted, started flying in India. And then, the universe has different plans. And I would say the music career took off faster than my aircraft, and and here I am.
So how did you get into it? Like, were you always interested in music, and how did it all start?
I've always been into music. Always been singing and playing guitar from my high school days. Had a band in high school, then had a band in college as well, and that's when we started playing in bars and clubs around the country. Initially, this is way before Best Kept Secret happened.
Okay.
And even when I was in flight school back in Florida, I'd be sitting in the hangar and playing my guitar with a bunch of other pilots and stuff like that.
How precious.
So I never really gave it up. I think I've always had a passion for music, but I've also had a strong passion to fly. And you
had to select.
And I had to select, and I think at one point when you're in high school and you're trying to make a decision, especially in India, they always encourage you to take an academically inclined decision,
Safest.
a safer option rather than trying to be artsy or
Correct.
off center. So that's how the flying happened.
I think it's a fear of unknown for the parents. Who knew
is.
in the 2000s that somebody can make a career out of a band?
Very true. Very true. So when I was transitioning, actually, my family was like, "Do you really want to be this guy who's going to be playing in bars and pubs?" Because when we started off as a hobby, it was bars and pubs.
Correct.
It didn't seem like it was going to get this big or get bigger than the bars and pub scene.
Correct.
So at that point, they were like, "Do you want to give up something you worked hard for, studied for, excelled in?" And I was really like hardworking pilot when I was getting my license and all of that. So they were like, despite all of these things, you want to give it all up, and now you want to, live this little rock and roll dream of yours. But yeah, it is what it is.
No, it is, and what a beautiful journey, because you are now one of the most well-known bands in the world, and as you said, you've played in 100 countries. Tell me about why the name Best Kept Secret. I'm always intrigued about this name.
So there's a very long story. I'll try and concise it as much as I can. So when I was flying in Bangalore, I'd moved from America to Bangalore to fly. I was flying for a private charter company, and I had a lot of free time on my hands. And a very dear friend of mine was getting married, and he knew I've been singing and playing the guitar from school days.
Mm-hmm.
And we were quite young. He was getting married. I think he was 23, 24 when he was getting married. And he was like, "Look, I want you to perform at my wedding, but I know a couple of other musicians also. So if you'd like to form a band and, as a group of friends perform at my wedding, it would be very cool." And at that time, I didn't have a band because I was focusing on my flying career. So he actually introduced me to Hemant, who's my guitarist, and Abhilash, who's my drummer. And he introduced me to them, and he was like, "These are my other friends, and I want to put this band together for my wedding." Mm-hmm. And so we put a band together, and we were supposed to just play one show. And before the show, we didn't really have a name for the band. Then we realized, you know what, we have to introduce ourselves. So we decided to name the band One Night Stand, because it was
only for one night.
Only for one night. And also it was our way of saying this is his last chance to have a one night stand, because it was the night before his wedding.
Right.
So we came up with that name, and somehow that name really caught on and it stuck. And we didn't really have big dreams or big goals to pursue this for a very long time. But what happened was, at the event, at his wedding, there were a lot of people who enjoyed the show, and there were a lot of people from different bars and clubs who were marketing managers and whatnot. So they wanted to hire the band, and then they started hiring us. So we played under the name of One Night Stand for a couple of years, built a pretty good fan base in Bangalore in the local pub club circuit. And eventually, when we wanted to release music, we realized that it's going to be a copyright issue, because there's a lot of people who already have the name of One Night Stand. And as we were getting popular, there was a DJ from Australia also who wrote to us. His name was DJ One Night Stand. So he was like, it was like Coldplay and DJ Coldplay. So,
Right.
So we can't really go with that name. And our producer thought it might be a bit of a conflict. So what we did was, we did a local contest on the radio in Bangalore for all our fans and listeners. And we said, okay, One Night Stand is going to be dropping this name, and we're getting a new name. So why don't you guys send in your suggestions?
Huh.
And, whoever suggests the name wins a certain kind of prize, or
Correct.
free access to Best Kept Secret concerts and stuff like that, or to the future name. Concerts. So we did this contest on the radio. So basically, what we did was, we did a radio contest for all our fans. And we asked them to suggest a new name for the band. And there was a certain prize for whoever suggested the name, and whoever's suggestion we picked as a band name. And we got, I think, 1,000 to 1,500 suggestions and entries and all of that. And we went through all of it, and then we said, you know what, the name Best Kept Secret rings a bell, because One Night Stand was also like 3 words, and Best Kept Secret also is 3 words. And then we also felt like what does a one night stand lead to, you know? And then we were trying to think on those lines, and then we felt a one night stand is always a best kept secret, or should be a best kept secret.
Okay.
So then that's how the name Best Kept Secret stuck with us. Then we did a little research. We found out that the name was legally available, no trademark issues. So we felt it was a sign, and we just went ahead with it. And that's how the name Best Kept Secret.
I wonder who's the winner.
I wonder too, because I don't even remember. This was about 7 years ago.
Wow.
But whoever suggested it,
Yeah.
thank you.
Why not? Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So now, and then you got into bigger weddings, and it just kept on rolling. Like, was it a struggle to get weddings, or was it just an organic thing which happened?
You know, I'll tell you very funnily. We actually had turned down a lot of weddings in the start because we didn't want to play at weddings. We also didn't know the magnitude of weddings. For us, weddings felt like it might just be a band that's playing in the background, and sometimes you got to do it to, you know, just to survive, kind of a thing, or make a quick buck. But so we didn't really have an idea, because for all of us in the band, weddings just seemed like they weren't your typical big fat Indian weddings. They were very simple weddings. So from whatever we had experienced amongst our friends and families' weddings, and we were young boys, 23, 24,
Correct.
so we hadn't seen too many weddings. But whatever we had seen, it just felt like, okay, you know what, weddings can't be that
This
big.
big.
So initially we were like, oh yeah, you know, we're not keen on taking up weddings, and our focus was on music festivals. We were a young band, so we were very popular with the colleges. I mean, we're still our fan base is still very young, but we were more keen on doing that scene, playing the nightclubs and touring and doing festivals and stuff like that. But what really turned for us was in the lockdown, which was in 2020. There was no sort of live performances happening anywhere.
Correct.
So in India, they kind of relaxed the rules a little bit, where they said you could have weddings with 150 people, and that was your top
Right.
number,
The maximum
the
guest
maximum
count.
capacity that you can have. So what people started doing was, I used to be on my Instagram live sitting with my guitar and entertaining our fans and stuff like that. So people started noticing that, and it started gaining a bit of traction. Then what happened was, we started getting inquiries saying, look, we're doing a wedding, it's for 150 people, and we had no way to perform live.
Correct.
Because bars were closed, clubs were closed, there was no way of a music festival happening. So there were no real open air concerts or indoor concerts, nothing happening. So we were like, okay, this is finally an opportunity for us to start performing.
Correct.
And we started off with like 1 or 2 weddings, 150 people in the lockdown in 2020, and then slowly 150 got extended to 250, got extended to 500, and then we started realizing that if Best Kept Secret can start giving a concert experience at weddings, because that's what people are missing in the lockdown.
Correct.
So we started turning these weddings into like mini concerts, and then one thing led to another, and then, you know, I think we just went with the flow, you know, and sometimes
Yes.
doors just open without you realizing where it's going to lead to. And
Thank
that's,
goodness for that.
yeah. So
Amazing.
I think that was probably it was a change in direction in the lockdown that happened for us. But I'd say, like, you know, we're very happy
Yes.
that we're able to do this now.
What is it that excites you most about the wedding as such?
I'd like to say the food, but but I think more than the food, I think it's an amazing avenue for us to perform, because at weddings everybody comes to celebrate. There's already so much of love in the air, you know, and then when we're about to get on stage, we can see people excited. And we can see that people are waiting for us to get on stage and start the show, because they want to party with us, and, you know, they want to sing with us, dance with us. They want to do all of this with us. So what I really like about weddings is that the energy is so infectious. And recently what's been happening is people have given us the liberty to turn weddings into these concerts. You know, they give us everything that we want in terms of our technicals.
Correct.
And they totally trust us to rock the night. You know, so that's what we love about weddings. And
That's
of course, you know, working with planners like you and traveling the world and seeing the world through weddings. I think it's a very nice avenue for us also, you know, as musicians, to take our career to the next level.
Right. Do you change your music or the way your songs will be curated for each wedding? After talking to the bride and groom, how do you do that? What's your process like?
Yeah, so I mean, I think essentially when people are booking Best Kept Secret, they already know or they have a rough idea of what we're going to be playing already, because they are like, okay, they've seen our Instagram or they've seen our YouTube, they've heard our music online. So they know, okay, fine, you know what, this is going to be a party. This is what the band brings. This is the energy of the band. And it's like 2 hours of non-stop
Yes.
partying. I think what happens is we have a huge repertoire now of about 200, 300 songs.
Okay.
And in a show, we end up playing about 30 to 40 songs. So in that 30 to 40 songs window, we can keep changing based on the mood of the crowd. So if we feel like the crowd is inclined more towards Bollywood, we have enough and more ammo to move towards Bollywood. And if they're more towards English, we know, okay, fine, you know what, they're responding really well to English. Looks like that's the vibe of this particular crowd, then we stick to English. And even within English and Bollywood, we have a lot of songs which are either retro or which are modern pop, but we like to mix it up. So whether you're 15 years old or whether you're 75 years old, we try and give you everything which is like modern day hits from 2025 all the way back to like the 50s or 60s,
Yes.
where your grandparents were grooving to Elvis and the Beatles and stuff like that. So we kind of play it by ear, but we also have something to cater to everyone.
Perfect. I think, and I've seen that firsthand, so I vouch for that for sure.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk to the bride and groom and when you see this, and I know that you do only one day in the whole 4 to 5 days of wedding events.
Right.
You will perform at one event. When you talk to the bride and groom and the family before the band goes on the stage, is there anything that you remember in this so many years that it touched you and it made you emotional and it said, oh, you know what, this is the reason why I'm in this industry? Because that's what happens to me.
Right.
Every time I think of, it's too much work, let's just retire, and something happens and a magic happens and like, oh, you know what, this is the reason I'm in this industry, because there is so much love between the bride and groom, sometimes the parents, the grandparents, the uncles, aunts, everybody. So is there something which...
We experience this quite often because we do close to 100 shows a year.
Correct.
And we're very fortunate because playing at a wedding is something which is very personal. And what happens is, in that family or in that circle of that family, their family friends maybe, who are getting married, they come back to us for future gigs. So, within one family itself, we end up playing for 4 or 5 weddings.
Correct.
And then you become a part of that family, and by the second wedding or third wedding, they're like, okay, you know what, whatever happens, we just want you because we like your vibe, or we don't want to have a celebration without you. And that is really very sweet and very touching.
You were saying about your family, the
So-
families, yes.
So we end up playing, close to 100 shows a year, and you're always going to see very magical moments and moments filled with so much of love, especially when you play at weddings. And what's very special to us is that when you play for a particular wedding, that same family invites you to play at multiple weddings in their family, or their family friends want to see you at their events. So
Right.
what's really touching is that for us, especially in so many cases, we've played maybe 4 or 5 weddings in the same family circle. So it's very touching when they come to you and they tell you that when the next wedding happens, we're definitely bringing you
That's true.
back for it, and that's very sweet. And I feel a lot of people who've grown with us as a band. There's been brides and grooms who have watched us when we just started off and they were in college, and we get messages. We recently played at a wedding, and the bride told me that she had DM'd me on Instagram, which I didn't see, unfortunately, in 2020, saying that she's a big fan, and when she does get married, She wants me
gonna
to
hire
sing.
you.
She wants me to sing at her wedding. This was 5 years ago, and we just recently played at her wedding in 2025.
Oh my
so,
God.
yeah, and there are moments where when we're performing, the bride or the family, they have tears of joy when we're performing. So all of these things obviously makes you believe you're doing the right thing, and it inspires you to keep going, because there's also this little stereotype amongst artists or musicians where they feel, oh, he's singing at a wedding.
Yes.
But that was the same stereotype that we had when we were turning down weddings initially. Now when we see that these are such glamorous and magnanimous weddings, we feel like we're so happy doing this, because
Right.
they give us the stage we want, they give us the sound we want, they allow us to create a concert atmosphere at weddings.
Nowadays, you see any A-list performer and they are performing at weddings.
Of course.
Recently, you must have seen in Udaipur, there was this wedding where Jennifer Lopez came.
Yeah, we were there.
You were there too,
Yeah.
correct, in Bandana wedding.
Yeah.
So there is no end to it. And I think what has happened is, Bheram, you have entered the industry at the right time. That's when our industry also was growing to a
Right.
level where we can have concerts. We have celebrity DJs, celebrity bands coming and performing at the weddings, is because we are growing in that direction. So this is great. And now let's talk about the music. I know that you have a band. How do you curate this? Like, I'm just wondering, because don't you have, like, each band member have their own sensibility of the music, and then you coming together and then making that 200, 300 songs database, I would
Right.
call it. How did you come up with that? Because I'm sure there must be some arguments about who likes what better and what would work better.
Actually, there aren't too many arguments. That's the best part, and I feel like what's happened is our music has actually evolved over the years. So when we started off, we had a very alternative rock kind of a sound when we were not playing weddings, and even
Like Aerosmith.
I would say not like Aerosmith, but more like an initial Coldplay or an initial Maroon 5. We had a little bit of those tendencies. So we're all inspired by different kinds of music. I think my guitarist is inspired by metal. My drummer is inspired by funk and disco. I'm inspired by rock and roll and pop. So it's like a whole culmination of different genres and inspirations that we bring to the table as a band. But then when we decided on entertaining people, we know that you can't go out to a wedding and think you're going to be playing Metallica.
Correct.
Because especially if it's an Indian wedding, people want to party and dance and sing. So it's great to like play songs for yourself, and that could be in the jam room, it could be in the sound check, and we do that as well. When we find songs that we really like playing, we do it for ourselves, and we love sound checking on it, and it also kind of gives us the right energy.
Good.
And we don't necessarily need to play it at shows. There are so many songs we don't play at wedding gigs, which we've rehearsed, but that's just for us. But having said that, we never play anything that we don't like as well. We know that, okay, a crowd wants a certain kind of a Bollywood song. We might not like the original arrangement of the Bollywood song, so we make it our own to something that we will like. And we do that with every song. The signature about Best Kept Secret is we don't cover any song exactly like the original. We probably keep the melody and the tune so that people like it, or the main hook of the song would probably stay. But other elements, we try to make it our own, do something that we might like. We might add a little bit of a progressive rock element in a song, or we might add an extra electronic element to a song. We might add a punk element to a song. We recently covered a Taylor Swift song, which was very random because we keep getting requests for it. And then there was this one bride, she was like, look, you would make my wedding if you do this one song. It was 3 days before. And we had 3 shows before that. So what we were doing is we were learning the song on the flight, in hotel rooms, and then finally we took it to a sound check, started rehearsing it in the sound check, and then we came up with the idea, oh, you know what, this song will sound a lot more fun if you played in a punk way. It's basically Love Story by Taylor Swift, but we
Right.
do a very punk version of the song. So that's what we like to do, you know. So you, as a musician, you need to find a balance between what you're going to enjoy, because if you enjoy it, everybody enjoys it.
Right.
You know, so you need to find that balance out. And I think as a band, to answer your question, we're all on the same page over there. You know, we're all on the same page. If you need to cover a Taylor Swift song like a Metallica song, and if that's what makes us happy, but we
Why
know
not?
it's also going to make the crowd happy, then we do it.
Correct. You also did a show recently in Calcutta, I remember. So you do shows very often,
We do 100 shows a year. So
apart from the wedding.
apart from weddings, yeah. I mean, including everything. So we do everything from, I mean, say car launches, fashion shows, hotel launches, you know, brand launches, like fashion launches, basically, college festivals, music festivals, nightclubs. We do everything. So the best part about being a pop rock band is that we kind of fit into every
genre,
space.
right?
So, you know, and every celebration. So basically, if there's any kind of celebration, we kind of fit the vibe.
Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
When we're talking about weddings, what is it that one advice you will give the couple when they are selecting a band?
Oh, wow. That's the best advice I can give is select Best Kept Secret.
Yes,
But,
that is absolutely true.
but I think the other advice would be that select a band that they feel like they will enjoy, but I also feel like they should select a band that they know that everybody else would enjoy as well, because even though it's their wedding, I think there's a lot of family members and friends who would be involved in putting that wedding together, especially if it's a big wedding where you're getting Best Kept Secret in, or getting a big band in rather. You know, there's going to be a lot of people involved in coordinating and in putting it together. So my only advice would be, it's your wedding. You don't need to think you don't need to think too much about or too hard about the music aspect, as long as you know that you're choosing a band that you're going to enjoy and your family and friends are going to enjoy. I think that's really what matters the most.
Right, the guest experience. I
Yeah.
think that's what matters nowadays.
Yeah.
Definitely. What is there any ritual that you guys do behind the band? Because I saw you guys taking pictures and then on the stage, but
Yeah.
I did not see any ritual happening. Is there any ritual?
We do have a ritual in the sense that we all like to warm up before a show. So we we warm up, and we're also sometimes what we do is we huddle, and we just you know, pump
Like a
each other
team.
up like a team, and we're like, okay, you know what, we're gonna rock this show. It's an important one for us, and we're gonna bring our A game out there. But sometimes we're also in a hurry to get on stage. So, you know, when you're doing 100 shows a year, you're already in that zone, permanently in that zone.
Okay.
You know, okay, fine, you know what, I got to get on stage, I got to put on a show, I got to make sure we rock this night,
Right.
regardless of any situation. You know, whether you're tired, whether you're sleepy, whether you're ill, whether you're under the weather, nobody needs to know what's happening
Right.
in your personal life, or that doesn't need to come out when you're on stage.
Right.
When you're on stage for those 2 hours, we've got one job, and that is to make everybody dance and sing and scream and smile and go back happy.
And it must be also giving you the energy back, right?
It does, you know, and that's why we love it, because we know even before we get on stage, when someone's introducing us or when the crowd is warming up to us, the moment I walk onto the stage and I see the crowd and
It
hear
gives you the
them
rush.
screaming, you're already in that zone.
Right. It gives you the rush.
Yeah.
I think as a wedding planner, I get that rush as soon as I'm in that, you know, among the guests, the bride, the groom, everything starts, and I just get that rush, and
Yeah.
the energy just comes. You're not well, you forget about it
Yeah.
because you are just in that zone. I
Yeah,
completely understand
the
that.
adrenaline kicks in, and then nothing else
Correct.
matters.
Exactly. What is new for Best Kept Secret in future? Let's talk about. Yes, you have to come to US and you
Yeah.
have to do many shows there.
Yes.
But apart from that,
I think there are a few very exciting things that we've got lined up. We're going to be doing our first ever UK tour very soon, in the months of July and August. They're all public concerts where we get to meet new fans and existing fans who have made this possible in the first place. So to find out that we actually have a fan base in the UK and that they want us to go there to do a series of public performances, which is really encouraging. So we're very excited about that. And I guess we also have a European summer lined up where we end up doing a lot of weddings in Europe. That is very exciting, and I think there's the most exciting thing for us as a band. We've been working on this for the last 2 years. Is our new album, and where it's all original music, and now we've added a few Hindi songs to the album as well,
Nice.
which was something that we didn't have earlier. And we're reworking a lot of those songs which we wanted to release, but we felt that they were maybe 80% ready, but not like something didn't hit the spot. Now we feel like we're really ready for it. So I think there's a lot lined up.
congratulations on the album. My God.
Thank you.
When is it
So-
going to be released?
We're hoping this year. We're hoping that this is the year that we finally end up releasing it. But we're for sure going to be releasing singles, and maybe we'll test the waters with a few singles. Probably release 4 or 5 singles, test the waters, and if it goes well, then we probably release an entire album with music videos and
Wish
the
you
works.
luck. That is
Thank you.
amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Wish you luck for that.
Thank you.
So this is rapid fire.
Shoot this.
Bheram.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite wedding reception song of all time?
Wow. Rapid fire. "Marry You" by Bruno Mars.
Oh, okay. This is apt for it.
Yeah.
Top crowd pleaser you didn't expect?
Our version of "Kya Mujhe Pyar Hai."
Oh,
Yeah, we do a very cool version of that song.
did I hear that?
You
I
did,
think
you did, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So we do a very cool
remember.
version of that song, and strangely, we never thought a Bollywood song would be the main song that everybody wants at our show. But like people are like, we want your version of this song.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
Ceremony song that always gets you emotional. That touches you. Any ceremony or any wedding song?
I'd say the greatest love song ever, which is "Can't Help Falling in Love."
Yes, absolutely. Best dance move you have witnessed at a wedding?
Best dance move. We've witnessed people taking off their shirts and jackets and climbing the truss,
I've seen that.
and you know, and shaking the truss, and I think twerking on the truss. I'd say that's definitely the best dance move I've seen.
Nice. Last one. One thing you'll always pack in your gear bag.
Sanitizer, because
After COVID, yes.
after COVID, but also I feel like you know, you're touching so much of equipment and different amplifiers and microphones and whatnot. I mean, I use my own microphone, but I make sure there's enough and more sanitizers, because there is almost no chance that we can fall sick, especially with my voice. So everything has to be sanitized, you know, and I think over a period of time we've all become like hygiene freaks. So just having sanitizer sprays and like surface sprays, these are the things that's a part of the gear as well now.
Oh, nice. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is amazing. Thank you
you.
so much, Bheram, for
Thank you for
joining
having
us.
me here.
And we hope to work with you.
Yes, the
more
American
often.
dream is alive.
Yes.
It's still alive.
But we are working this year in September, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh wow.
And
Where are we working?
in France.
Oh, amazing.
So we'll get to that.
Yes.
And many more. Let's not just wait for that.
Yeah.
And the way you're doing July and August, I would love to do a July August in America next
Yeah.
year.
We're halfway there.
Yes.
We're halfway there, so
Correct.
it's gonna
So
be.
let's do that.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, you know, for all the love and support. You know, like I said earlier in the show as well, as artists who are playing at so many weddings, it's the support that actually takes us places. You know, you might be the most talented musician, but until and unless you have the right kind of support and support staff and people spreading the word about you, you're just going to be playing in your own studio.
But you're
So-
talented. You're super talented. Your whole band is super talented.
Thank you.
And because I've witnessed it firsthand, I can tell you, there is no end to this. This is just the beginning for you.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you, Urvashi. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Wish you the same. Thank you.